Our topic is Jacksonian Politics by Lawrenceville and Lupita. Issues prior to 1800 and the Jacksonian democracy were the differences between the Federalists, who represented a strong central government, and the wealthy elite, while the Democratic Republicans stood for more state power and the average Americans. Many things caused the shift from the Federalist and Democratic Republican parties to Jacksonian politics. For example, with the presidencies of 3 successive Democratic Republicans, the Federalist Party began to die out. This time became known as the Era of Good Feelings. A major factor that caused the shift in politics is the almost universal white male suffrage that allowed the common people to vote as well. The main person involved in this transition was Andrew Jackson. His military victory in New Orleans gave him great popularity among Americans, and he was considered a war hero. He was a religious president, and he represented the rights of the common man. The main opponents of Jackson were Henry Clay and John Quincy Adams. They won the election of 1824 through what is commonly known as the corrupt bargain, an unfair win on Clay and Adams' part. They supported the wealthy elite, and their party became known as the Whig Party. One result of this was the rise of the middle class because they had more say in the government. Another result of this change was the brutal campaigning during the election of 1828. The newspaper became the medium for exposing each party's faults, including the corrupt bargain and Jackson's divorce. This change occurred because of the obnoxious campaigning that caused Jackson to gain even more popularity and eventually win the election of 1828. Jacksonian politics were impacted by regionalism because in the coastal part of New England, the Whig Party really represented the wealthy businessmen. In the South and the West, common folk were represented by Jackson. The lessened property restrictions allowed common people with less land to have a say in their government. Since the common folk mostly supported Jackson, their say in government had a great effect on future elections. Jacksonian politics also caused sectionalism to become worse. The differing economic values between those on the northeast coast greatly contrasted the small agricultural economy preferred in the South and the West. Voting was impacted as well, with more and more eligible people choosing to exercise their constitutional right of voting. In conclusion, there were many changes that occurred because of Jacksonian politics. Positive results were a great increase in voters, a more personal relationship between the president and the people he represented, and the eradication of the Federalist Party. However, a negative result was a new way of running for president. This included nasty campaigning that was a tradition that continues even today.